I'm used to traveling for stand-up comedy and couldn't do that this whole time. So I found myself replaying trips that I took in my head like a sad retiree staring wistfully at sea. And one of the ones that I kept replaying was a trip that my wife and I took to Kauai. Before we had kids, before we were married. It was just one of those perfect trips. And I kept replaying one exact day. We were walking down the beach at sunset, going to a very scenic point where all the tourists go and watch the sunset and take their photograph. Couldn't have been more idyllic. We're holding hands, the water's brushing up against our ankles, just in love in Kauai. And we noticed a man higher up on the shore where the property line meets the shoreline. And he was at the edge of his property, and he was a very strikingly handsome man. So much so that my wife and I both were just like, wow, get a load of this dude. He was swirling a glass of something red and delicious looking, and he was smoking a little cigarillo, just a debonair individual. And then we looked closer, and we realized, about at the same time, it was 100% Pierce Brosnan. James Bond, the actor Pierce Brosnan. We looked it up. He has a house in the area. He's very involved in the community. We encountered Pierce Brosnan in his native environment. We encountered Pierce Brosnan in his colonized environment. And you guys are picturing Pierce Brosnan in your heads right now. And I gotta tell you something, it's not enough. Brosnan it up a little bit. Sprinkle a little bit more bras on whatever image you're conjuring right now. It was electric. He looked like as if Pierce Brosnan dressed up as Pierce Brosnan for Halloween. Just optimal bras going on. You understand what I'm saying? Liberally belinened. Chest hair spilling out the collar. Just, my God, what a man. And I had to say something to Pierce Brosnan, because I'm that type of person. But the only thing I could think to say in the moment was, we're going to see the sunset. I'm a fucking idiot. We're going to see the sunset. And Pierce Brosnan just pointed over my head in the direction from whence we had came, at the largest moon I've ever seen in my entire life. And I looked it up later. It was, in fact, a super moon that evening. It was a Fiddler on the Roof, film set, comical Hollywood moon. And I just loved that I encountered cool as hell Pierce Brosnan. And I was like, we're going to see the sunset. And he was just like, ah, yes, but what about that moon? But he didn't say anything that kind. He just pointed, because I was like, we're going to see the sunset. And he looked at me like I was a park man. And then I was in my fucking head. We're walking to see the sunset, and I'm just like, I can't believe I said that to James Bond. I'm such a fucking idiot. I'm just like stewing, and my wife is like, calm down, like let it go. This is the most beautiful place. And I was like, no, I'm an idiot. He hates me. We got to the sunset point. My wife was able to calm me down because it was beautiful. She was right. She's always right. The sunset, I let it go. And eventually all the tourists kind of headed off their separate ways, and it boiled down to just my wife and I sitting on that beach, and something came over us, and we went into the water, and we fucked right there in the ocean. And it was awesome. Later that night, I was replaying the day in my head, because, mon Dieu, what a day. I was replaying that specific scene. And I said to my wife, I was like, hey, honey, do you remember earlier when we were having sex in the ocean? She goes, yeah, you've mentioned it about 11 times since we did that. Oh, yeah, earlier when we were having unprotected sex in the water, and it was so cool. Be honest with me. What are you thinking about Pierce Brosnan? She said, how could you tell? And I said, because I was also thinking about Pierce Brosnan. I think we pulled off a 0017.